Hello, welcome back to Camus Classics. Today we're going to be working on the 12-bolt rear end for the 66 442. We've got it all sandblasted. I'll show you that in just a second. Got it all sandblasted. We're going to show you how to tell if it's positraction rear end, meaning both wheels will spin when the drive shaft spins, and what the gear ratio is. We do have to pull it apart. We got it all sandblasted. We're going to get it painted. And we have new brakes. So what we're going to show you is how to get it prepped for the brakes, and how to, if you're at a junkyard, how to tell the rear end. And well, let me explain that. So the way you do that is you take here your pinion yoke, and you set that where you know where it is. Out here on the drum, we marked it. It's marked with the cable. And what we're going to do is we're going to spin that 2 times and count the number of revolutions this makes. One, two, three, okay, so we made about 3 3/4 revolutions. So that's probably, most likely, knowing GM gears, that's probably going to be a 373, because we're about 3 3/4 turns. And I'm going to have him spin it, and I'll show you how to tell if it's posi. Go ahead and spin it. Okay, so as you can tell, so it stopped spinning, so it's an open differential. So if it was a posi, both sides would spin. So it's an open differential, which is fine. This car's mainly going to be used, driven to car shows, driven on weekends, that sort of nature. So we're not drag racing this. We're not really doing anything that we need posi for. If it was posi, that's just a bonus, but it's not going to be driven in the winter, so we don't need to be able to catch both tires, have both tires spin. So yeah, so as you can see, we didn't sandblast the brakes. What we got looking at on this was, there is, these are most likely original. The shoes might have been replaced. They're a drum brake. We're going to go back with drum brakes. But what we got is, we knew this master cylinder, or the slave cylinders in the wheel cylinders were going to leak. We knew there was going to be, things of that nature. Most likely going to have to replace the shoes. The drums are, where the brakes are is good, but the rest of it's all bent up and such. So we decided, most of it was going to have to be replaced anyway. And through OPGI, they actually sell the completed unit. So it's just going to be unbolt and bolt back on. So let me show you what we're doing. So we're undoing the bolts. We already loosened them, just so we didn't have the air compressor running as you guys are trying to watch, because it is a little loud. And so we're just pulling all the bolts out. When you're doing this, you want to leave like the top one in, and do your bottom ones. So I'd suggest putting this one back in. Yeah, any of the top ones, it doesn't matter. The reason for that is when we break this seal, instead of trying to catch that and all the oil leaking, we can just break the seal and let it run out of the bottom. As you can also tell, it almost looks like there may have been just a little bit of water in that. Not a lot, but just enough. So we're going to release the fluid anyway. So, GM did make two different types of this 12 bolt. And I'll show you the easiest way to tell on these which one you have. I don't know if the muscle cars come with it. I know from my Derby experience, the full-size cars did have them. The easiest way is right here. If it has a nut on this end, you've got clip-in axles. If it's got a T-bar nut type thing that goes through, so you're undoing the nut on the inside, those are what are called bolt-in axles. Bolt-in axles you don't have to pull this rear cover for, because they bolt in, so you just have to undo the nuts and you can pull them out. They're the C-clip ones. They have a little clip that you have to pull out of the carrier in here. So we're gonna pop this cover, catch the oil, and we want to leave this one just a little loose, but so that the bottom can tip, but we want to catch it. So that is why we left that bolt in, because with that bolt in, then you know the front up, bottom of it can tip out. The bolt will hold the cover on. We can let most of the we drained some of this out, but we can go ahead and drain the rest of it out. And once it gets down a little bit, then we can go ahead and pull that other bolt out and dump it in right into the pan. Here you can pull that bolt. That's just so you can kind of control where the oil flow goes. If you've ever smelt this oil, you'll know why you don't want it on you. It's pretty stinky stuff. He's going to go, we got an oil catch for our lift. He's just going to go set that in there and let it drain off. We'll let this drain into here. We can flip it and do what we need to do to get the brakes ready to come out. But we'll let this drip overnight after we do that. We did strap it because it does kind of want to tilt on us. So we'll let that tilt now. Let's go ahead and tilt it right over. Put over with it. Yep. Okay, so in here it is actually spring, so it is what they call a limited slip. It's not a full posi, but it's limited slip, so if one side does start spinning, the other one, these springs here, kind of tell you that. But what we've got to get is there are two clips. That we have to get out. He's grabbing us a light so we can see a little better. There's one of them right there. So you can see them little clips right down here. So to get those out, you've actually got to twist it a little bit, and this center bar has to come out. And what that'll allow us to do is it'll allow us to push in the axles just enough to pop them off with a magnet tool.
It just drives out of there.
Yep. It goes one way, I'm not sure which way. So we did the sandblasting with all this put together. If you get sand down in here, it'll destroy these gears in no time.
I'll turn around and
Yep, that's the side you drive it out of.
huh?
Yep, that's the side you drive it out of. So you can see it's kind of indented just a little bit.
That isn't budging.
We're going to take a brief break, get this figured out for you. So it has been a little while since I dealt with one of these. There's a little bit of a keeper bolt. Derby cars, you didn't have to mess with that because you just welded them.
Probably don't need to come all the way out, does it?
Probably does. You'll also notice we were using a brass punch, so we didn't do any damage.
sitting on that.
And you only take it so far.
Turn it back around there a little.
Oh, as you can see, now it's pulling out. We just got to get to where you can grab onto it and pull it out.
Turn it back so I can tip it. Oh. Okay, now bring it out.
Take a bar and go in there and pry that up. There's a little bit of a gap down there, so we can pry that up, get it out. Big screwdriver, just whatever you can get in there. You can see there's a flat side on there, and that's what that bolt goes in against.
Okay, now we can turn it.
Okay, what we gotta do now is take the drums off. Yeah, take the drums off. Just take the drum itself off.
It ought to just slide off.
Yeah. Probably have to hammer it. It's been on there many years. We'll get the drums off and come back to you in a minute. Okay, so a little persuasion with the big hammer. As I said, them's been on there for years. We got them off. I'm going to show you what we're going to do. I think I can run both. As you can see, this inside one's ready to come out. So let me twist it. And go ahead and grab that. So basically all you gotta do is twist it around. We're using a little magnet tool. Turn it. You want to do that? That's basically what you got to do is you got to get it twisted around. And then just pull it out. So that, oh, lost it. So that's basically what holds the axle in. So now I can take this, just pull that axle right out. Those have to come out in order to get these out, because the axle goes in there, and so you can't get the whole, I mean, we got the whole piece, everything except for I believe the emergency brake cables. We're going to have to work with those, so we're going to do the same thing. So all you basically do is just come here to the axle and push it in. And then again, use your tool, flip to get it around. This one's a little looser. Once you get it to the C side up, it comes right out. And just pull that axle out. As you can see, we got 3 that are newer studs. They're quite a bit longer than the other 2. So we'll probably go ahead and swap all these out. It's a good idea anyway. This one's not even pulled in, that one's not pulled in. So we'll go ahead and swap those out anyway. Have new ones. We'll clean these up so that they're not all rusty. And the one thing to pay attention to, it's hard to tell with those being different, is your sides. As you can see, this one's slightly shorter than this one, so we have to remember this one goes in the passenger side and the shorter one goes in the driver's side. And I'm covered with oil here. Let me clean up. This stuff is horrible for getting all over everything. Okay, so we're back. So the only other things we got to do is, it's hard to see in here, full of cobwebs. This was a Texas car, so we'll be a little mindful of black widows and stuff like that. We don't have them here, but that's not to say they didn't hit your ride. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to have another socket and ratchet to hold this side while we undo the other side. As I said, if these were bolt in, you would have nuts on this side, and you just have to undo those. The other side's pressed in, so you don't have to worry about those. They can't spin. But this side you have to watch. And we will probably be replacing the emergency brake cables as well. It looks like they're not in the best of shape. And we can get those, so we'll go ahead and put new ones in. And this spins a whole lot easier. What I'm kind of looking for is they will oftentimes stamp the gear ratio on these. I'm not seeing that. The other way you can tell is if you count the teeth on this side, on this gear, count the teeth on the pinion gear in there, then it's the ratio. Size are they? 9/16. Get us a wrench and our impact.
Do what?
And our impact. I'll go ahead and hold on the wrench. You can run the impact from the other side. It's got a whole lot more power to it than that one does.
You can't get on that one.
And that whole backing plate, everything should come off. Just like that. We may look at, we may replace these seals. We'll look and see. Bearings look pretty good in there. Don't feel any drag on them, so the bearings are probably good. We'll probably replace the oil seals. That is one of the big downfalls of a drum brake is oil. You get oil on them, they will not work anymore until you get it all cleaned off them. So we're not going to do that. That's pretty much it. When we get done, we'll take the other side off. We'll flip it over so that it can drain out all night. We can take some brake fluid, spray that in there to clean it out, some degreaser, something to clean it up. There was a washer down in the bottom I seen, so we'll want to take care of that, and we'll get it cleaned up, painted, and we'll show you putting it back together.